What's up everyone? Today we are going to do something absolutely insane. We're going to travel the globe to find the most dangerous, the most extreme, the most mind-blowing cities ever built. These aren't your typical tourist spots, these are places where people live literally on the edge of a cliff, on top of an active volcano, or even floating on water in the middle of a massive city. I've spent a ton of money and countless hours researching these places, and I promise you, what you're about to see is going to completely blow your mind. So, get ready, because you are coming with me on an adventure to explore the absolute scariest cities built on the edge of the earth. We're talking about places where one wrong step, one bad storm, or one tremor could mean total disaster. And trust me, the stakes are only going to get higher. Each city we visit is going to be more precarious, more dangerous, and more unbelievable than the last. You won't believe people actually live like this every single day. This is going to be an epic journey. I'm challenging myself to show you the most extreme lifestyles on the planet, and I'm challenging you to watch until the end, because the final city on our list is so isolated and so wild, it's almost off the grid entirely. Are you ready for this? Let's go. Alright, first up, we're in Lagos, Nigeria, but this isn't the Lagos you might be thinking of. We are heading into Makoko, a place often called the Venice of Africa, but it's way more intense than that. Imagine an entire neighborhood, a community of hundreds of thousands of people, living in houses built on stilts directly over the Lagos Lagoon. There are no roads here, no sidewalks, no cars. The only way to get around is by canoe. We're about to get in one of these canoes and see what life is really like inside this floating city. This is crazy. The people here are literally born on the water. Kids learn to paddle a canoe before they can even walk. We're gliding through the main streets right now, and it's a completely different world. There are floating shops, floating schools, even floating churches. Everything you need to live is right here on the water, but living here comes with some insane daily dangers. The water they live on is heavily polluted, and a simple fall into the lagoon can lead to serious diseases. There's also the constant risk of fire, which can spread from one wooden shack to another in minutes. Despite the unbelievable challenges, the sense of community here is stronger than anything I've ever seen. Everyone knows everyone. Neighbors rely on each other for everything, from borrowing food to helping repair their homes. We just passed a group of kids diving off their front porch, laughing and playing. It's this incredible resilience, this ability to find joy and build a life in one of the most challenging environments on Earth, that is just so powerful to witness. They've created their own world here, with its own rules and its own culture. But there's a huge, looming threat that nobody here can control: the rising sea levels. Climate change is a massive danger for Makoko. A single major storm, or a gradual rise in the water level, could wipe this entire community off the map. The very water that gives them life could also be what takes it all away. The government has tried to demolish the slum in the past, viewing it as an eyesore, but the community fights to stay in the only home they've ever known. So, we have a city floating on polluted water, with constant risks of fire and disease, facing the existential threat of being swallowed by the ocean. Yet, hundreds of thousands of people call this place home. It's a testament to human survival, but it's also our first, and definitely not our last, look at a city living on the absolute brink. This is just level 1 and it's already blowing my mind. Okay, we've left the water and now we're in China, in Yunnan province. I want you to look at this. This is the city of Yanjin, and it is hands down the narrowest city in the entire world. It's wedged into a tiny strip of land between the massive steep cliffs of the Tibetan Plateau and the raging Nangxi River. At its narrowest point, the city is only 30 meters wide. That's less than the length of a basketball court. It's so tight that it feels like the mountains are about to close in and crush everything. The buildings here are insane. They're built on these tall, thin concrete stilts right on the riverbank to protect them from flooding. It looks like the whole city is on stilts. Living here means you're constantly in a state of claustrophobia. You look up, and there's a giant cliff face. You look down, and there's a powerful river roaring below you. There's no space. There are no public squares, no parks, just one main road squeezed between the buildings and the mountain. It's one of the most surreal places I have ever been. The biggest challenge for the 450,000 people living here is the double threat of floods and landslides. The Nangxi River is known for its flash floods. In the summer, heavy rains can cause the water level to rise dramatically, threatening to wash away the very foundations the city is built on. At the same time, the steep cliffs towering over them are prone to landslides. A single rock slide could send tons of debris crashing down, wiping out entire apartment blocks. It's a constant battle against nature on two fronts. This city has a long history of dealing with natural disasters. We looked at historical records, and the people of Yanjin have been rebuilding and reinforcing their city for centuries. They have developed an incredible, almost stubborn determination to stay in this sliver of land. Their ancestors chose this location as a strategic point for trade, and that legacy has kept them here, adapting and surviving against all odds. It's a city built on pure defiance. So, we've gone from a floating city to a city squeezed between a river and a cliff. The risk level has definitely gone up. In Makoko, the danger was the water itself. Here in Yanjin, the danger is from the water below and the mountains above. It's an inescapable vice. The sheer verticality of this place is terrifying, but believe it or not, our next city is even more precarious. We're going to a town that's literally crumbling into dust. We are in Italy, and this looks like something straight out of a fantasy movie. This is Civita di Bagnoregio. It's a tiny, ancient town perched on top of a massive plateau of soft volcanic rock called tufa. The only way to get here is by walking across this long, steep pedestrian bridge. There are no cars allowed, and the reason this place is on our list is because it's known as Il Paese che muore, the dying town, and they mean that literally. The rock this entire town is built on is constantly eroding. The edges of the plateau are literally crumbling away, falling into the valley below. Wind, rain, and earthquakes are slowly but surely eating away at the foundations of Civita. You can see the evidence everywhere. We're walking through the town right now, and you can see cracks in the ancient walls. Some buildings are perched right on the edge of the cliff, and you have to wonder how many more years they have before they just fall. It's a race against time. The town is shrinking. Historians say that centuries ago, Civita was much larger, connected to the surrounding land, but erosion has isolated it, turning it into this island in the sky. The population has dwindled to almost nothing. In the winter, only about 10 people live here full-time. It becomes a ghost town. It's beautiful and tragic at the same time. Every step you take feels like you're walking on borrowed time, exploring a relic that nature is actively trying to reclaim. The people who stay, or the ones who run the tourist shops in the summer, have this incredible love for the town. They are fighting a losing battle to save it. They've tried to implement reinforcement projects, pinning parts of the cliff face, but it's an enormous and expensive task. It's like trying to stop the tide with a bucket. The feeling here is so different from Yanjin or Makoko. There, it was about surviving a constant, active threat. Here, it's about watching something beautiful and historic slowly fade away into nothing. This is a whole new level of scary. It's not a sudden disaster you have to worry about, but a slow, inevitable death. The ground beneath your feet is disappearing. Every year the town gets a little bit smaller. It's a city on the edge in the truest sense of the word. And from this crumbling rock, we're going to an even more explosive location. Our next city is built inside the crater of an active volcano. This might be the craziest thing I have ever done. We are in the Philippine Sea, on a remote Japanese island called Aogashima, and this isn't just any island. The entire village, the entire community, is located inside the crater of a larger active volcano, and inside that crater is another smaller volcano cone. It's a volcano within a volcano. This is literally the set of a disaster movie. The isolation here is on another level. Aogashima is one of the most remote inhabited islands in Japan. There are only about 170 people living here. To get here, you have to take an overnight ferry and then a helicopter, and even then, the weather is so unpredictable that trips are canceled all the time. If you get stuck here, you are stuck. There's no quick way out. You are completely at the mercy of the ocean and the sky. And then there's the volcano. The volcano we are currently standing in, the one that cradles the entire village, last erupted in the 1780s. That eruption was so catastrophic that it killed nearly half the island's population and forced the survivors to evacuate for 50 years. Geologists classify it as a Class C active volcano, meaning it could erupt again at any time. The people here live every single day with the knowledge that the ground beneath them could explode. There are no real escape routes. If the volcano shows signs of erupting, the only way off is that one small harbor, or the helipad. If the weather is bad, or if the eruption is too sudden, there is nowhere to go. You are trapped on a tiny island with a ticking time bomb. The people here rely on early warning systems and evacuation drills, but they know the risks. They live with it. The steam vents from the central cone are a constant reminder of the power simmering just below the surface. This is a huge step up in the danger game. We've gone from a crumbling city to a city inside an active volcano with no easy way to escape. The stakes are getting incredibly high. The people of Aogashima have chosen to live in one of the most beautiful, but also one of the most geologically dangerous places on the planet. But what could be more extreme than living in a volcano? Our next city. A place so cold and toxic, it's deadly just to breathe the air. Alright, we have traveled to the absolute middle of nowhere. We are in Siberia, Russia, inside the Arctic Circle. This is Norilsk, one of the northernmost cities in the world, and without a doubt, one of the most brutal places to live. For starters, the cold here is unimaginable. We're here in the milder season and it's still freezing. In the winter, temperatures drop to minus 50 degrees Celsius, or minus 60 Fahrenheit. For 2 months the city is plunged into polar night, meaning 24 hours of complete darkness. But the cold isn't even the scariest part. Norilsk is an industrial city, built around some of the world's largest nickel and palladium mining and smelting operations. The side effect is that it's one of the most polluted places on the entire planet. The air here is thick with sulfur dioxide and other toxic chemicals. The snow is often black or yellow from the pollution. Local rivers have run red from industrial waste. This isn't just bad for the environment, it's incredibly dangerous for the people. The health risks of living in Norilsk are off the charts. Life expectancy here is about 10 years less than the Russian average. The rates of cancer, respiratory diseases, and birth defects are terrifyingly high. Just breathing the air here day in and day out is a massive health gamble. The city's landscape is scarred and barren from decades of acid rain caused by the smelters. It's a man-made hellscape in the middle of the frozen Arctic. It's hard to describe how heavy the air feels. And just like Aogashima, Norilsk is incredibly isolated. It's a closed city, meaning you used to need special permission to even visit. There are no roads connecting it to the rest of Russia. The only way in or out is by plane or during the summer, by boat through the Arctic Ocean. When the weather is bad, which it often is, the airport closes, and the city is completely cut off from the outside world for days or even weeks at a time. We've seen natural dangers, but this is different. This is a city where the danger is man-made, constant, and inescapable. It's in the air you breathe, the water you drink, and the ground you walk on, all compounded by extreme cold and darkness. This is a whole new level of extreme living. But we have one last city to visit, a place so deep in the jungle. It's the largest city on Earth you can't drive to. For our final city, we've come to the heart of the Amazon rainforest. This is Iquitos, Peru, and what makes this city so insane is that it's the largest city in the world that is completely inaccessible by road. With a population of nearly 500,000 people, it's a massive, bustling metropolis, completely surrounded by either dense, impenetrable jungle or the Amazon River. The only way to get here is by a multi-day boat journey, or by flying in. It is a literal island of civilization in a sea of green. Imagine everything you need to live, every car, every piece of construction material, every snack food, every single thing has to be shipped in by boat or flown in. This makes life here incredibly expensive and logistically complicated. We're walking through the Belen Market right now, which is a floating market on the river, and it's absolute chaos. You can buy anything from exotic fruits to mysterious jungle medicines. The city has a unique blend of urban life and deep jungle culture. The challenges of living here are immense. You are truly at the mercy of the jungle. The city is surrounded by wild animals, venomous snakes, and tropical diseases that you just don't have to worry about anywhere else. During the rainy season, parts of the city like the Belen neighborhood flood completely, and people have to live on the second floors of their houses, using canoes to get around. Just like in Makoko, but surrounded by the Amazon. The isolation defines everything. If there's a serious medical emergency, you can't just drive to a bigger city with better hospitals. You have to wait for a flight. If a major supply ship is delayed, the entire city can face shortages. It fosters a unique sense of self-reliance. The people of Iquitos have to be resourceful. They live in a world that is both modern and ancient, a place where motorcycles buzz past shamans and city life unfolds under the constant watch of the jungle. This is the ultimate city on the edge, not on the edge of a cliff or a volcano, but on the edge of the known world. It's a massive human settlement thriving against all odds in one of the most remote and wildest places on Earth. It represents the final frontier of urban living, a city that proves humanity can build a home anywhere, no matter how isolated or how surrounded by nature's power. It's an incredible and fitting end to our journey. And that's a wrap. We've been to a floating city in Nigeria, a city squeezed between cliffs in China, a crumbling town in Italy, a village inside a volcano, a toxic frozen city in the Arctic, and finally, a massive city isolated in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. I have to say, this has been one of the most intense and eye-opening experiences of my life. Seeing the way people adapt and survive in these extreme environments is just absolutely unbelievable. The resilience of the human spirit is truly insane. Now I have to ask you guys, which city did you find the scariest? Was it the slow, inevitable decay of Civita di Bagnoregio, the explosive potential of Aogashima, or the man-made poison of Norilsk? Let me know in the comments below which one gave you the chills. I'm genuinely curious to see what you all think, because honestly, I can't even decide. Each one was terrifying in its own unique way. If you enjoyed this insane adventure, and want to see us explore more of the most extreme and fascinating places on the planet, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. We are always pushing the limits to bring you content you won't see anywhere else. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.